Hey everybody, Travis here for Tpull's Corner. And we got an Izzet deck, so we need some red mana as well. But we're starting off with blue, blue, and blue, and I'm okay with that. Prophetic Memory is going to help us out with the theme. We've got things that happen whenever you draw your second card. Here we create a token, second spell, we add a +1/+1 counter. Everything's based around doing something twice, either drawing cards or casting spells. And they have blue, so we may have to wait a while. Get a drink. Grab some chips. Whatever. There we go. Yeah, we'll do this. They're not going to attack with this ever. They just want to deal damage a turn with every spell that they cast. And just like that, they have a blocker for the flyer. I think we take the land, actually. In the meantime, I don't think it matters to us. I mean, if they can do one more point of damage against this, they'll kill it and we'll just draw another card. We keep looking at the Hall Creeper like they're going to do something about it. Probably means they have a shock in their hand, right? That's kind of par for the course with decks like this. I think we just keep drawing a card. The Bird Wizard is whenever you cast instant or sorcery. This is whenever you cast a non-creature spell. So I'm expecting lots of cheap instants, really. But we always have to wait for them to figure out like how to maximize everything. If they knew their deck well, they could go a little bit faster. Okay, we'll block there. See if we survive. Alright. Trade, we draw one card. Wow, we flooded out with land, didn't we? Let's do this. Attack again. They can't block that creature. We add a couple of counters. I would say I'm not worried because they're running short of ammo, but the thing is, we've just got a bunch of lands mostly. We don't have that much ammo ourselves just yet. I'm expecting them to cast a draw spell any minute now. Come on, little goblins. That's fine. No blocks. Okay, this is getting a little ridiculous. You had your turn. It's my turn now. Alright. First we bring out Crom Violent Cacophony. And then we get rid of this puppy. And this synergy is lovely. We cast a second spell, we get a +1 counter. And because we cast another spell this turn, we draw a card from Slick Sequence. That is indeed a Slick Sequence. In the meantime, they can't block that one. 9 points of damage. Do we want to become a copy of another creature? We do! Not a legendary. There, now we have flying. And we get extra counters. Life is good. It's still kind of a strange draw, though. 6, 7. I ended up with 7 spells and 10 lands? Okay, 8 spells and 10 lands. Let's see, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I could do this right. We can do this. We can do this. Second spell, get a +1 counter, and draw a card. And because we draw a second card, it pops off everybody else. And now I can take my Homunculus Horde and pump it up. And we attack with 3 flyers. They can save things if they have a bounce spell for a turn. And we wait for the blue player to think. And the roping begins. And we go play with our geese. Just another day in arena playing against blue players. The good thing about me when I play blue is I tend to know what my deck is about. So I'm not spending too long thinking about things. That was only 5 points of damage. You didn't even exile it. It's like, why do you rope me for that? Maybe they're bad at math. Whatever. We're moving on. We're going to show you this deck. I'm going to show you real quick the impetus for the deck. Hang on. Manifold Mouse. Before too much longer, I'm going to have to move on to Bloomburrow and make a bunch of pet decks. Okay, so when we go to the starter decks, we have this Second Chance deck. And I played it not too long ago, and we weren't really impressed with it. It had some potential, but it wasn't quite right. So I went and made my own deck, and that's what we have here. And it's called the Second Card. And I wanted to have 4 copies of the Slick Sequence in here. It deals 2 damage to any target. If you cast another spell this turn, you draw a card. So this is the theme, the center focus that sets the stage for the entire deck. We want to cast another spell. We want to be able to cast 2 spells a turn. And as it turns out, because of Foundations coming out, we've got something really fun here. Teach by example. This is originally a Strixhaven card. When you cast your next instant or sorcery spell, you copy the spell. You can choose new targets for the copy. Love to pair this up with Slick Sequence. So all we need is 4 mana. And this is hybrid mana, so we need 1 blue and 1 red here, and then any combination of blue and red here. But we cast this, and then we cast Slick Sequence. Slick Sequence is the second spell, right? So we've cast another spell already with Teach by Example, but we get 2 copies of Slick Sequence, which means 4 damage to a target, which can make a big difference if we're trying to kill like a creature toughness 4. Plus, we get to draw 2 cards because we're getting to draw a card from each copy of Slick Sequence. In the meantime, what else do we have? We have 1 copy of Combat Research. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to a player, you draw a card. So this is going to fulfill the other part of the deck, which is drawing your second card a turn. Got one Jaded Analyst. Whenever you do draw your second card each turn, Jaded Analyst loses Defender and gains Vigilance, so you can attack with a 3/2 Vigilance creature. Malcator's Watcher also has Vigilance, something that Wizards added to Blue the last couple of years. Flying and Vigilance, when it dies, you draw a card, so you get another draw card trigger. 3 copies of Prophecydetic Memory. When Prophecydetic Memory enters, draw a card. Love that. You have no maximum hand size. I'm a sucker for that. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you've drawn more than one card this turn, put X +1/+1 counters on target creature you control, where X is the number of cards you've drawn this turn -1. So if you only draw one card a turn, there's no benefit. It's going to be 1 - 1. It'll be 0. 0 counters. As soon as you draw that second card, you're going to get a +1/+1 counter, and if you can pop off more cards for draw, you can get additional +1 counters. They all have to go on the same creature. I've got one copy of Silent Hall Creeper, so I'm using it, from Duskmourn. Can't be blocked. Whenever it deals combat damage, you get to choose one that hasn't been chosen. So we usually want to draw a card first, then put 2 counters on it, then copy another target creature. Sometimes I can copy a legendary creature, save the Hall Creeper, and get rid of the legendary creature, and it's still advantageous with the battlefield state is that I can still win. Thopter Mechanic, whenever you draw your second card, the mechanic gets a +1/+1 counter. When it dies, create a 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature token. You see with flying, picture to the right there. Galvanize, 2 of these. Galvanize does 3 damage to target creature. If you've drawn 2 or more cards this turn, it does 5 damage to that creature instead. Another card to copy with Teach by Example, by the way, for creature removal. All you need to do is make sure you've drawn that second card. In the meantime, if you do cast Malcolm the Eyes Out, legendary Siren Pirate. Case of the Ransacked Lab. I think this one is possibly tough to solve. You've got to cast 4 or more instant sorceries in one turn. But you see, we've got a lot of 2-drops there. So I think we've got a good chance. But we can't do it in the first 4 turns. We're going to need to wait until we've got probably close to 8 mana. 2 of the Erudite Wizards. This is from Foundations. Whenever you draw your second card, you get a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Kira the Rising Tide. When she enters, draw 2 cards and discard 2 cards. And for Threshold, if you have 7 or more cards in your graveyard, whenever you attack, you may create Scion of the Deep, a legendary blue octopus creature token. And so you don't have to create it. It says you may create it. I'm not sure why you would ever not want to create an 8 octopus token. So, but they made it. They didn't make it mandatory. They made it optional. So you could decline that if you wanted to. I'm using more Karlov Manor cards. You bring it down for Disguise, so you're paying 3. It comes down as a face-down creature. It's only going to be a 2/2. Okay, then when you're ready, you pay the 2 to get rid of the Disguise. Turn it face up. Target opponent gains control of any number of target permanents you control. So you get to select which ones you want to give them. Usually we're giving them a bunch of lands. We get to draw a card for each card of ours that they gained control of that way. Then whenever we attack, we get control of one of those target permanents. Because we own it, we don't control it, but we gain control back. This can backfire on you if they have a way to kill the Coveted Falcon, or maybe if you're giving them a bunch of lands, maybe they can cast every card in their hand. So this is a risky play depending on how things are going on the field. Lila, Undefeated Slickshot, legendary human rogue, 3/3 with prowess. Whenever you cast a multicolored instant or sorcery spell from your hand, you exile that spell instead, and it becomes plotted. So here are the multicolored spells we've got. We got Malcolm, Select Sequence, Teach by Example, Ill-Timed Explosion, and Crom. So those are all the multicolored instants and sort. Well, actually, Malcolm's a creature, and so is Crom. So it's got to be instant or sorcery. Make sure I don't include the creatures in that. Clinquant Sky Mage. You pay 4 to get a 1/1 flyer. Doesn't sound that good, but whenever you draw a card, it gets a +1/+1 counter. So if it lasts long enough, the nice thing is we might draw a card just normally if we're out of gas, and it'll still become a 2/2 just naturally by the card draw. But if we draw 3 cards in the turn, in addition to our first, it's automatically going to get to become a 5/5 on that next turn. So it's possible you may think that the opponent has something that they can take this out with. If it comes out as just a 1/1, you may want to hold on to it until you know you can put it out and have a chance to draw those extra cards. Homunculus Horde. This is a fun card, I guess, in terms of you might end up with a stalemate for a while on the board, but every time you draw your second card, you create a token that's a copy of the Homunculus Horde. The problem is the tokens, they also have the same text, so that if you have a token and you draw a second card this turn, you create 2 more tokens, one off the original Homunculus Horde, and the token creates a copy that still retains the text. So you're going from 1 to 2 to 4 to 8 to 16. And at some point, they're not going to be able to stop you unless they have a board wipe. We have 2 ill-timed explosions. You draw 2 cards, then you may discard 2 cards. If you do, it deals X damage to each creature. So we can use this as a board wipe. You don't have a lot of high-powered cards. Half the time so far, I just use this to draw 2 cards, and because I'm drawing extra cards, that triggers half of the other cards that I have in the deck. For instance, Crom, Violent Cacophony, 2/3 flyer, legendary zombie horror. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, it gets a +1/+1 counter. Plus, you get to draw a card once you do that. So, it's nice. It fits in nice. Archmage of Runes, this is a nicely designed card. I think it costs 5. You get a 3/6 wizard, instants and sorceries cost, 1 less to cast. I wanted to pair that up with the Case of the Ransacked Lab, make a bunch of cheap spells all of a sudden so I'd have a chance. You do have to save up for instants and sorceries once you've got these 2 on the field. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, you draw a card. So maybe you start with 3 of instants in your hand and just count on drawing into that 4th one at that point. One real good board wipe with Temporal Firestorm, and I don't have white mana, but I've got the blue, so if I have 7 mana, I can go ahead and phase out one of my creatures and save it, and everything else gets dealt 5 damage. And I didn't bother with a Demolition Land this time, just a couple of Autonomous Furnaces and a Surgical Bay for card draw, and a little bit of Survey with Temple of Efficiency, or Epiphany, and we can scry if we attack with Restless Spire. 1 copy of that. And that's about it. So let's go in and have our second match with the second card. And so this is, I consider this to sort of be an upgrade to the pre-designed deck that Wizards made. And we won the last one, so they really want me to mulligan, don't they? There's just no way. Every once in a while I keep these just to see what happens, but no, I need a better mix. What do we want to get rid of? I guess we'll get rid of Lila for now. Hey, get over there. Alright, not the best start. What is the name of the WotC is a trash company. And I guess they're just helping everybody by running around and conceding so we all get our wins for the day. I don't know what that was about. That doesn't count. Either that. I usually say they saw my screen name and recognized me and ran scared for the hills. That I'm just too intimidating. Okay, 4 lands and no blue. I think I have to. You know what? Let's just go ahead. I mean, if Arena wants me to lose, Arena's gonna make sure I lose, right? So why fight it? We mulliganed last time. We're done. We're done mulliganing. You can only do that so many times in one gaming session. what's it matter that our opponent has a perfect curve, that we keep getting dealt cards that we can't cast, that our entire hand is useless. Come on, boy, 247. You got extra cards and everything. Gonna try and auto pass here. This instant is going to, because we can afford it, it's gonna keep passing up. Oh look, it's another mountain. I am so surprised. Oh look, it's another spell that's useless for me to cast. I guess we just throw it away. I should be dead in like, what, 3 more turns? Oh look, it's another mountain. Thank you, Wizards employees. I guess I get the message. I'm going to lose this match. Yes. We're just sharing with our lovely subscriber audience. This is where I go ahead and ask you guys to like and subscribe. This is ridiculous. They've got so much time. They're just chilling. They're so leisurely too. Okay, 2 more turns. They gave me a blue. Okay. They've got to have some sort of lightning attack, right? No? What in the... What is wrong with these people? If I do this... That's 1 spell, so I'm gonna cast... Oh, I don't have the other blue. Okay, I'll just cast this. That way I get a counter at least. Okay, there we go. Because I got the second spell, I got to draw the card there, and drawing the card triggered the counter, which is what I wanted to do with Prosoditic Memory. But now we can't use our Teach by Examples the way I wanted to use them. I think my opponent is playing with his food. Look at this. They're not even, they didn't even try to attack once. They can bring this down now. I can't even block it with what I've got out right now. Oh, never mind. Ancient Imperiosaur. Yeah, they're just taking their time, taking their time. What's left for me to do here? I can do this. And I still can't cast any of these other things. Okay. We're just done. Six red land sources and finally 1 double source. Let's go ahead and show you. Just so you can see the land base real quick. Okay, we've got 2.7 average, so it's kind of cheap. We've got 8 islands, 7 mountains, and 2 of the autonomous surfaces, so 9. And we drew most of those. Okay, Wizards employees. Could I have more than just 1 color source this time? We just got to show you. We win a couple of rounds, and then they do this. And I think that one person who just scooped on the first land drop, I think they upset. I think I was supposed to lose that round. And so Wizards got even worse with the next round because I won a round I wasn't supposed to. So they're like, what happened? We can't have this happen. Cheat harder, Arena. can't block me. I've got a Manifest Dread. Come on. Boom. Draw a card. Manifest Dread again. Well, I don't think it does me any good to do that, so we're just going to attack. We will get the 2 counters, and we'll play the other Galvanized. What did we get rid of? We got rid of Gossip the Talent. Wasn't even a creature that time. Manifest Dread again. I'm sensing a pattern. Well, I guess we do this. I guess we do this. And we do this. Life is good. Oh, we have First Strike. Did they not realize we had First Strike? It was just a land. It doesn't matter. No, we don't want to become a copy. Do we submit 0? We have no choice. We have to select it. It wouldn't let me do anything else. I guess I was not supposed to attack with that. I got an extra land now. Oh wow, they got rid of a creature. Let's get rid of everybody. That was one with the multiverse. They got a lot of extra cards. And I don't have a way to deal with that, really. Not right now, anyway. Yeah, let's bring both of these down. They're just going to give us the beatdown with the 1 land creature. We're going to let them, I guess. If I do 2, 4, 6. Okay, so we can take care of that next time. No. I did it wrong. I was supposed to do the other teach by example. For some reason... Can I activate this now? There we go. First strike. Yeah, okay. Trigger, 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 trigger. And scry. I think we're done with the lands. Oh, we're done with them too. I wasn't even doing the math. I was going to count my land versus spell ratio. Never mind, the match is over. Eager truffle snout. can't really do a board tribal right now, can we? See, as long as we're not playing a blue player that has to think every, think for 2 minutes every turn, the matches actually kind of go fairly fast. And you notice we're popping off a lot more than the Wizards pre-made deck. And we seem to have answered another oversized deck. Is there been a comeback with Mill? Because I haven't faced any Mill at all in the last couple weeks, but people are doing these massive deck sizes. It's not like I'm jealous or anything. I'm not jealous of their deck size. It's not the size, it's how you use it. Phyrexian Arena. Okay. Our goal with the Falcon is we're hoping that they use their removal spells on our other creatures to the point that we can use the Falcon without it dying. But I kind of need some of the other creatures up front now. There's one. So they're probably, with the 2 cards they're going to draw a return, they're probably always going to make a land drop, which means they're going to outstrip us on land and resources. And if they got a bunch of 1-drops, they're going to be able to cast 2 or 3 spells a turn. Do we just do this? I think we do. Aha! Okay, so that's 3 spells in 1 turn. Let's do this. Land, thank you. Let's do this and get rid of this now. Draw another card. And now we're attacking with a 4/4. It's got Ward 2. It's kind of become a nice juicy target for removal now, unfortunately. They're just going to bring back their 1-drop. So, yet again, making all their land drops, casting a couple of 2 or 3 spells a turn. That's hexproof, isn't it? If we draw, I feel like I just want to do this. 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't have enough. Okay, let's try this. That's all we're gonna do. They need some form of life gain soon. If they put out a Shieldred, I'll just cast the Firestorm, I guess. Land or no land. That's interesting. They have Phyrexian Arena and they have ramp spells too? Maybe they're... Oh, what did we talk about? What did we talk about? Okay, did not get the land. I can do 5. I draw 2 or more. Aha! think I need more creatures, don't I? Trigger, trigger. Let's get rid of this thing now. And I think we put it on Kiora. And then I attack with the one flyer. And they take it because they couldn't turn that. They were tapped out. They couldn't turn that with a death touch. Discard cards. Okay, there goes Temporal Firestorm. As long as they don't have another Shieldred handy. Uh-oh. They're going to return a Shieldred. Look at all that. They tapped out again, though. Okay, so we've got a chance. They didn't like any of that stuff. Okay, so if we do this, target any number of permanents we control, 1 and 2. We were going to have 2 flyers and we were going to have 4 damage on each flyer, and they did the math. They only had 1 flying blocker. So even though they were going to get Shieldred back, it always feels good when I beat Shieldred. Shieldred is overused. Even now, Shieldred's being used a lot. And technically, Shieldred should be my kryptonite, right? Versus this deck. Because it's based about drawing extra cards every turn. Shieldred just completely destroys you for that. Nope. Too soon. Blast Zone. Okay. So maybe I should go back to having a demolition land in here, because maybe I could just get rid of the Blast Zone and make sure it can't hurt me. Does this count as 1 or 0 if it's a face down card? Got rid of my Falcon already. Exiled it and everything. Second card, second spell. And never mind, it's exiled. Let's see, what can you do against this? Toughness 6. You got 2 more of these handy at the same time? Notice you're choosing cards that exile our stuff. That's good, in case there's... You know, they could be going up against a graveyard recursion deck for all that they know. They seem kind of frozen. Is this primarily a creature burn deck? I just did one of those, but it had lifelink in it. It was fun. Scorching Shot. 5 damage. It's a creature and they had another Scorching Dragonfire. Very good, sir. Second spell, we get to investigate and draw a card. We have haste, we get to attack. And this gives them card draw when it dies, right? Yeah. Are we drawing enough lands? Evidently not. Okay, so 4, 5, 6, 7 spells and 8 lands. Yeah, we're drawing a lot of lands. And they've got everything that they need, right? Every single time. Source of life gain and card draw. And they like what they're seeing. Whereas we're flooding out, so we've got nothing left to do. They cleared our board. We did what we could. And this is one of the weaknesses of the deck, which may be why we're doing this now. Iron Crag. Oh look, more land. I'm so surprised. Thank you, Wizards. Anyway, as I was saying, that's one weakness of this deck, is that most of our creatures start off with toughness 2 and 3, with the exception of the one that's 6. But, yeah, we all start off low and young, so to speak. And it takes us a while to build up. And they made sure we didn't have time to build up, and then they had their bomb at just the right time. They drew just enough land. I don't think we have anything that can deal with that right now. We need like a whole hand of spells in order to have tools to do against that. What? I had the Iron Crag on my last deck. They're taking a really long time to think about things now. When it's really 3 turns and I'm out. I'm just drawing lands here anyway, right? Yeah. Thank you, Arena. Not even a land that can turn into a creature. Just lands. More than 50% land draw. It's going to be 4 to any target, which is going to be me. They should have converted that. Did they convert? Yeah, so you can equip that, right? So it's a 2-turn clock. I don't even have a bounce spell. They are taking way too long. They didn't even bother to equip it. It doesn't matter. I'm dead in 1 more turn. Come on. How can they possibly start moving that slowly? They were so much faster when they were killing my creatures. Everybody's using the same avatar too still. Oh, look at that. I can draw a card. Hey, it's my turn. You had all that. I let you go through all that. Rude. I finally got something that wasn't land. Alright, Arena gave them exactly what they needed in the exact order. Notice they didn't get more land after they got their bomb. They got other things that could help them out. Okay, let's do one more. So we're not really being land starved. They're giving us like only 1 color land, or they're flooding us out. The problem is it's happening like every other match. It would be nice to have something resembling a fair fight, a fair chance. It's bad when I can just predict that you're going to give me another land. But that's how many years we've been playing online Arena in a row, and the patterns become very obvious. Do I kill it? We attack anyway. don't know now if I'm going to draw another land, so the idea that I could get a second card, I'm so far from that. This way I at least end up with a 1/1. And we wait and see if I get land starved or not. Easy. Boom. So we could double this and do 6 points of damage at the very minimum to an enemy creature. Come on. I know you're blue, but either bounce it or let me play. We have to wait for an opt. We have to wait for you to decide that that's when you're going to use the opt. Did they like change their mind? They were going to do that at the end of the turn, and then they thought, oh, maybe I can draw a card that'll help me here. Yeah, sure. I don't have things to get rid of enchantments. I don't have bounce spells. We didn't bother with any of that. If they have any kind of removal, it's going to work. Thank you, wizards. Again, notice 5, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spells and 6 lands. 50% land draw is not something that I'm used to. This, I mean, this is a cheaper deck, right? It's 2.7 for the average mana cost. It is a relatively cheap deck, so it's easy to go through the spells in your hand. And we wait. And we wait. This is kind of ridiculous. Play an opt or not? Come on. Opponent is also not missing a land drop. They might have been afraid of a bounce spell. Looks like they have nothing better to do. I'll pass. I think we just wait for my turn to do this. Oh, hello. There we go. Okay, so they can't untap. So we get another hit in. And then we just do 2 to their face. We get to draw a card. Now they can spend mana to untap this now, so they could attack this turn, right? he's to petrify on a 1/1. That's good. Okay. let's do, this will be the first spell. Hoping to draw out the final counterspell they might have. No, okay, second spell. I should have put Malcolm out first. That way this would have counted as the second spell. I could have investigated. So I did that exactly backwards. We can't attack because they can untap it with their mana. So we have to wait. I couldn't just swing in for the 2 points. I need enough untapped mana to pay the ward cost. Who do you take? Do you take Malcolm or do you take the Silent Hall Creeper? I would take the Hall Creeper. See, I think that's a mistake. You could untap and block with the fairy anytime. You can't block the Hall Creeper. Okay, this is going to be fun. We're just going to get rid of the fairy. Let's see. 1, 2... Okay, so we can't do that this turn. So we'll just do this. If they counterspell it, we just kill it. If they don't counterspell that, we just kill it. It doesn't matter. Well, I guess we do have to pay the ward cost first, so if they do have a final counterspell, we wouldn't be able to pay the additional. We'll just decline on that one. Okay, so whatever this spell is, let's actually put some counters on this now. I'm kind of banking they don't have another Petrify or some Paralyze spell. Alright, well if I knew that, I would have drawn a card. We would have just gotten a land anyway. Counterspell, okay. We finally drew their last counterspell, but now we're both out of ammo and just top decking. I need to get rid of 4. No, that did not help me. So I'm going to have to let them through and let them hit me. And they get another card draw. Well, let's just do this now. Done. Life is getting a little low. They make the trade. Seriously? Was that 9, 10 lands? I think we're still at 50% card draw just about. Oh, come on. Thank you. Damage. Another counterspell? Yep. Wait, we can pay for that. They just get to surveil too. Did they even bother to surveil? Does that mean they liked what they had on the top? That would have to be another board wipe, wouldn't it? No. What are they doing? One spell. Second spell. Get our counter. Decline to discard anything. And good game! Man, that was a lot of land draw. Maybe I need one more card in here that just lets me draw 5 or 6 cards. Just to get the land out of the way. Alright, let's go in and show you the full deck. One more time. I like the combinations. I like the way this plays a lot better than the pre-made. The ill-timed explosions, as you saw, I'm not even necessarily using those as a lot of damage. I can use them just as a, we use 2 damage as a 2 damage board wipe, and it worked. Other times we're just drawing 2. And it seems like maybe it's not the most efficient, right? Because you're using 4 mana to draw 2 cards. And normally, if you're spending 4, you can get something a little better than that. But the flexibility of being able to use it as a board wipe if I need to is really great. And I didn't even notice. I think I'm just falling into this natural pattern of Izzet where we're using 1, 2, and 3 drops for the most part. You notice I only got 5 drops. I used to be forced to do this by arena because it would give me all the expensive cards up front, and I would just have dead cards in my hand for most of the match. But here, I think I've finally internalized the rules in terms of red and blue and their desire that when they want to be doing stuff like this, they want cheap spells. They want, for the most part, you want 1 and 2 drop instants and sorceries to do well with your triggers, and that actually does a good force multiplier effect. So Slick Sequence is a nice card. I like the way it's designed. So whatever, I hear people complaining about the bad story for Outlaws of Thunder Junction, but I think the cards themselves are designed pretty well. Malcolm the Eyes is nice because of the haste for the most part. You got to remember to play these in a certain order. Play Malcolm the Eyes first and then do your second spell. You can't investigate if Malcolm is your second spell. And it doesn't work if you do a third spell after Malcolm either. So there's only one shot to get that right. So I messed that up, and that could have helped me probably ended the game a turn earlier. I kind of like Silent Hall Creeper. I kind of hate to go against him. And, of course, Prophecydatic Memory is probably one of my favorite cards out of Karlov Manor so far. And with that, we're going to do our normal spiel, right? We ask you to like and subscribe. We thank our sponsor. We say instead of that pre-made deck that we were having so much trouble with that Wizards gave us, take this out for a spin instead. I think you'll find this is a lot more fun. It's a lot more efficient. It's a lot more options. It pops off a lot better. Just everything about it is better. And again, as always, I ask, what would you change? Is there something that you don't like? Are there too many copies of Teach by Example? Maybe we could get rid of one of these and get something that draws 3 or 4 cards instead. Maybe I need to just put in maybe I need to burn a wild card and just go get a second Coveted Falcon, and we could put that in there, although that is a risky card. But anyway, we'll leave it there. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.